Board on this. Share screen. All right, here we go. So I guess I'm going to title this COVID-19 and Weaponization of Fear Part 3. All right. So I will start off with the Fatiha real quick. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladina an'amta 'alaihim ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Ameen.
Ameen.
Ameen. All right. Go ahead, Brother Nassim. You want to knock out the translation for us?
Okay. In the name of God, Allah, most gracious, most merciful, all praises be to God, Allah, the cherisher and sustainer of the worlds, most gracious, most merciful, master of the day of judgment. Thee do we worship, and thine aid we seek. Show us the straight way, the way of those whom thou hast bestowed thy grace, those whose portion is not wrath, and who go not astray.
All right, Ameen. All right, so here we
Ameen.
go. We got some warm-ups for y'all. So we're gonna start.
Warm-ups? Come on, Abdul. Come on.
Look, you got
Ashley. These warm-ups. Hey, let me get ready. Hold on.
You got Ashley there. You got Ashley there, brother.
Hey, I showed Ashley the gorilla video, and she saw the gorilla. So that's a new one. Man.
She got you right here. She got your back on this one. Here we go.
She watched. Oh no.
All right, math 24. So 3, 5, 4, and 7. How can we make 24 using those 4 numbers?
24?
3, 4, 5, and 7. You can use addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. You can use any of those.
Okay, so you do you do 5 times 4 and plus 3.
That's 23.
You got to use all 4, or
you got to use all 4 numbers.
Okay.
Make 24.
See, come on, Abdullah.
Wait, can you only use them once, or can you use them more than once?
You can only use each number 1 time.
There's a smart one next to me, so if she whispers in my ear and I get the answer,
that's fine. Y'all are a team. Y'all are teams.
What number?
3 times 4 plus 7 plus 5. 3 times 4 is 12. 7 plus 5 is 12. 12 and 12 is 24.
There we go.
Ashley, I
told you.
On it. Ashley is on it. All right, go, y'all. We're going to go to
the bathroom. You can hang out with Ashley. I gotta go to the bathroom. I literally have to go to the bathroom.
All right, we're going to do a 2-point card. The difficulty is a little bit harder. Here we go. You have 8, 6, 2, and 5. 8, 6, 2, and 5.
Still 24?
Still 24. Always 24.
Okay.
5 times 6 is 30 plus 2. 32 minus 8 is 24.
Oh, wait, say that again, Ashley. You did it super fast.
Yeah.
Say it again.
5 times 6 is 30 plus 2 is 32 minus 8 is 24.
That is correct. Go ahead. Ashley is tearing it up. All right, here we go. All right, these are our last 2 cards. Now we're going to do a double-digit card. All right, 13, 7, 10, and 3.
I'm so sorry. 7 times 3 is 21, plus 13 is 34, minus 10 is 24.
That is good.
Oh,
right. Ashley, you never played this before?
No.
Oh, you're awesome there, Ashley.
Well, he's good at man.
All right, here we go. I got one more for y'all. This one's a little bit harder. Here we go. 8, 15, 13, and 3.
What?
You're just making 24.
Oh, God damn
it. Yeah, that's what I say.
16. No. No answer.
Uh-oh. Look at Ashley brain moving like a computer. I see her thinking. All right, so I'm gonna give y'all, I'll give y'all a time limit on this one. I will give y'all 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Yeah, I did that one too. Oh, 24?
Yeah.
Yep, has to be 24.
No. I did what you're doing, like in my head.
She's like,
Thanks, you can hear me.
Yes.
I had the breakfast off. You can hear me. All right. If you do
Oh, wait,
11,
hold on. Wait, hold on.
right?
Let me do
and
the
then
math.
you do the,
Nope.
All right.
Stop talking. Mental math.
What's the number?
Here we go.
oh,
3
got it?
times 15
Oh
is
crap!
45. Minus 13 minus 8 is 24.
Oh my.
all right, say it again. 3 times 15 is 45, you said.
5. Yeah.
Then you did
45 minus 13 is 32. Minus 8 is 24.
woo! Oh my goodness.
I'm telling you.
I told you she's sharp, Mr. Sherrill.
Yeah.
All right. So the brains are warmed up now. So now we'll jump right into this. All right. So here's the first thing. We'll do our warning for those people. It says the following information is not suitable for anyone who would like to remain blind. Viewer discretion is advised. All right. So here we go. All right. This, I want you to check this out. This is something that's going on in Oregon. All right. But let me play it for you. It says Oregon lowering learning standards, bigotry of low expectations.
Welcome back. When a governor signs a bill that they're proud of, there's usually a fanfare, signing ceremony, a rounds of TV interviews. But what happens when they know their actions are about to hurt generations of kids in their state? Last month, Oregon Governor Kate Brown quietly got rid of proficiency requirements for high school graduation. This means that students can graduate without proving that they know how to read, write, or do math. So why would she do this? To help minorities, of course. In a statement,
Oh, shoot. My bad. Actually, I forgot how sensitive this is.
Welcome back. When a governor signs a bill that they're proud of, there's usually a lot of fanfare, a signing ceremony, a press release, and a few rounds of TV interviews. But what happens when they know their actions are about to hurt generations of kids in their state? Last month, Oregon Governor Kate Brown quietly got rid of proficiency requirements for high school graduation. This means that students can graduate without proving that they know how to read, write, or do math. So why would she do this? To help minorities, of course. In a statement, the governor's office said that suspending the reading, writing, and math proficiency requirement while the state develops new graduation standards will benefit, quote, Oregon's Black, Latino, Latinx, Latinx, Indigenous, Asian, Pacific Islanders, tribal, and students of color. Frankly, it is insulting that they think the bar needs to be lower for people with a different skin color than theirs. It is lazy to give up and say poor students don't have the capability of learning, so we'll just pass them without actually educating them. If you actually want these kids to learn, you need to put in the work. And if you're not willing to do that, then give these families a choice to put their kids in a school that will. Take a look at Capital Prep, a charter school with locations in Harlem, the Bronx, Hartford, Connecticut, that serve predominantly low-income students, people of color. They refuse to lower the bar. Instead, they raise the bar. They push their students to meet high standards. They prepare them for challenges of the real world, and they don't make excuses. The result, 100% of college acceptance rate for their graduates. Shouldn't all students have the option to attend a school that cares about their future? Teachers unions and school boards know that if parents have the option to use their tax dollars going to public schools to instead send their kids to better charter schools, there will be a mass exodus. And the public school system would either have to drastically improve or shut down. So for them, it's just easier to lower the bar. And that's sad. Joining me now, Whitney Monroe, Serial Institute CEO, and Maj Toure, founder of Black Guns Matter. Whitney, I want to go to you.
So what do y'all think about that?
So wait,
Sound like you're setting them up for failure.
Setting them up for failure.
right,
Mhm.
right. Double standard for education, right?
Exactly. And the thing
Double
is,
standard. So we will have the African American children in certain areas are going to get treated, what's that?
Didn't work.
It doesn't matter, but still, like that they're going to get treated like this
yeah,
and not have a level of standard that they should have, but they're not getting the education.
exactly. And the
Right.
thing is, you got to remember, one of the agendas is to dumb down the country. Remember, Charlotte Iserby wrote that book, The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America. And she said that this is one of the goals, was to, take away, basically stop people from being educated.
Right.
And here we go. Now, here's the news story that went along with that. But do y'all know what the Latinx is?
No.
Okay, they mentioned Latinx. This is Latinx. The definition of Latinx is a person of Latin American origin or descent. It's used as a gender neutral or non-binary alternative to Latino or Latina.
Wow.
So that's why they're using this new Latinx. All
So
right.
right, what we talked about, feminine,
That's
non-feminine.
what we talked about.
Right.
That's what we
Yeah.
talked about. All right.
That's
So
what
now-
I've been talking about. Yeah.
yeah, Latinx. All right.
Wow.
But here she is. Again, this is from another perspective.
Democratic Oregon Governor Kate Brown facing backlash for pushing racial equality over getting a quality education after she quietly signed a new bill that gets rid of math, reading, and writing requirements in order for high school students to graduate. The governor's office says it will help students of color, but she is being accused of dumbing down schools to appease far left liberals. So Dana, I think this is a tragedy for everybody
So
because you're lowering the standards rather than thinking kids could rise to the challenge.
Dula, like, not to cut you off.
As a
Let me
taxpayer,
pause
I'm
it.
mad.
Go ahead. What you say?
Not to cut you off, but like think about this. And I've actually presented this and the idea like in my work is that do you believe that this generation will be stigmatized because they are not literally having the full education? Does that make sense? Like they're not getting the full experience. Both college, they're not getting the college experience, they're not getting everything in general. And will this generation be stigmatized because they are having some other education that now is accepted and they're getting pushed on? So this isn't just like watching this about like, those standards, but my I don't want to say anybody, but like family member possibly might have been pushed through other level of means of education through maybe military, and now that does that make sense? Like they got pushed through. Like
It's always been happening.
well, yeah, but this is different. Like
Yeah, well, this is different just because it's state approved.
correct.
But
Right.
but they've always done this. They've always pushed children through, and we see the result of it. We see
Right. And I
that.
think we're going to see a result of the children that I think this is like literally the standard now for them.
Right.
And I don't like that. And I feel so bad. Now, when they're older and they go through a program and they graduate and they're in life, now are they going to be literally, looked at within this 4 to 5 year to 8 year period of COVID? When we do this period, are they going to be stigmatized? That was the COVID period. They got their education, they got their degree from this period. That bang, right?
Right. Well, most
So-
definitely, even with the COVID, because they're talking about now how much schooling a lot of kids missed. You know?
Right. Yeah.
And they are.
education-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. But Charlotte Iserby, when she wrote this book, she talked about a lot of the things that are going on now, and she was privy to a lot of things because she worked in the Department of Education under Ronald Reagan, and she got to see documents and things, that described how learning would turn into training. So it's basically kids are not learning how to think.
So what you're saying, I agree with what they're showing, but I think in general, as a whole, not just African Americans, but like, this is like a whole generation that's going to be like this. Now, what's even more messed up is that the persons or individuals who are African American are going to be more put behind of that generation of those groups. So what they're saying is true, right? But now people of color are going to even be more put back from that group. And that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
In this,
most definitely. Most definitely. Yeah.
And that's not good.
But see, Charlotte Iserby, she talked about the dumbing down of the whole country, the whole society, and that's happening, even with the next point that I'm gonna show you. But let's look at this. Let me show you this.
All right. Sorry about cutting.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good.
Okay. Damn.
But now, when you look at this, this is right here on Kensington Avenue, and the condition of the people, right? And remember, they were talking about the safe injection sites.
Let's even bring up something even deeper, Abdullah.
Go ahead.
One of the art galleries, the Clay Studio, is on 2nd Street and is actually going to be now in Kensington. So what does that show you? Wow. Is it possibly that, and they're very big, like very prominent. They're going to be, and then these are the people that are talking about gentrification, and we talk about going into another community and helping the community, but they're not. Does that make sense? Like, so this area you just showed is going to be now the most prominent, or one of them, for the Clay Studio, which is now specifically going to be created for ceramic artists and very major. Yes, I'm saying this. Yeah, I'm saying it because I don't think that gentrification through the economics is actually really a good thing. I
Right.
think that people that are white and privileged are actually going in and buying these areas, and they're kicking people out of color and actually not doing the right things, not good things. And I get very upset about that.
Yeah. Well,
So that example that Kensington is doing that, I'm telling you, they're going to be probably, yes, right, coming up, go buy some house in Kensington, you'll probably make a lot of money, and that I don't agree with, and that's currently where I'm at as a white male, that I have probably some good money to be able to buy something, but I was pushed out of the community to buy something, and I don't, now this is part of society. And so showing that in Kensington, show that is, that's about right.
Yeah.
I would agree, because who's why are they investing? Why are they building in this area? Why? I was even more perturbed when I heard that. And actually, the person I work with basically had to prove that I actually knew that the actual play studio was going to actually be rebuilt in Kensington. They didn't even believe me.
Wow.
Yeah, it's on Philly.com. It's on the Enquirer. Read it about 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. So why are they going there? I don't know. But at the same point, you talk about injection sites. I mean, I don't know. All I know is that probably the influence is happening in that area of money. Something's happened with money.
But now,
I'm sorry to deviate too much, but
yeah.
There's money that's going to be made there. They tried with Strawberry Mansion where we used to work, or where I used to work, and they tried. And the people in the community, I don't think that they tried. And I think those people pulled out and tried, and now maybe they may try in Kensington. That's my guess.
Oh no, they're still doing that area. Yeah.
So that's my guess.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
But now here's a quote from Frederick Douglass. It says, "When a slave is drunk, the slaveholder has no fear that he will plan an insurrection, no fear that he will escape to the north. It is the sober thinking slave who is dangerous and needs the vigilance of his master to keep him a slave." All right. And I thought that was a very powerful statement, because when you think about it, they the powers that be, they don't fear a person that's basically drunk or on drugs or uneducated. They fear that one that can think, someone that can understand what's going on. So it's very, very, I found that very interesting, because the condition.
And actually, one of my students actually came up to me just the other day, like last week, and she's African American, and I work in a very prominent Caucasian area. And she's like, "Why do I need this? Why do I need education?" And I said exactly what you just said. I said, "Well, think about." I said, "Think about it. If someone has knowledge over you, they can actually control you." And I said, "That's why you're taught to read." And you can read and teach yourself. Right. And right.
Yeah.
You can teach yourself. Someone writes something, if you don't know how to read, and they say, "This is what I wrote," you don't know if that's true or not. And it's so powerful. And I said to her, I said, "That's why you're in school. That's why you're taught how to read. Anybody could actually tell you." And that comes from whatever the other teachers in our building, or was Peskin. Who was it? You know what I'm talking about? The second grade. Yeah. She said all those things to those students, and it made such a powerful impact to me, because that exact statement, others can have power over you if you don't understand what's written to you, if you can't read it. Thank you.
But that's why they, during slavery, that's why they prevented the slaves from learning how to read.
Right.
You could have, power over them, because that the old saying, knowledge is power,
Right. That's it. Yeah.
But now let's move on to this, because I want you to hear this woman, Susan Jacoby. I want you to hear what she says here. All right, so I'm gonna take this to about the 5-minute
You'll
mark.
do that. Garbage in.
Because I think she's kind of like on the same wavelength as Charlotte Iserby.
With the war going on and all of that. So that your book is, I gather, rightly depressing in its picture of an American intellectual level.
Well, let's move away from the election for a second and think about issues. I myself was surprised at some of the studies I turned up that I cite in this book. The worst one, I think, is the National Geographic Roper poll of Americans from 18 to 25. After all, the age group that's doing nearly all of the fighting and dying in Iraq. And 2/3 of them can't find Iraq on a map that's marked with the names of countries. But more than that, when people were asked, when this age group were asked, is it...
Now, think about it, though. They don't really teach geography in school anymore.
No.
They
And
don't.
actually, I was with a student that I showed her. We were talking about Afghanistan, and I showed her Afghanistan. This is literally last week, and I showed her. I said, the opioid crisis. What opioids come from, right?
Mm.
90% of the entire opioids come from Afghanistan.
Mhm.
Oh, and who protected all the fields in Afghanistan? The United States Army, and paid them off. And then now we have an opioid crisis in America, right? And so funny, she's like, well, what? We talked, and I said, look, Afghanistan borders China. Supposedly China is the person that's actually the one that is now being accused of all this, but at the same point, I found, and actually I might have been wrong, and I always thought it was wrong, and I showed the map, and went to Google Maps and showed up. It was literally like last week. And I said, look, Afghanistan borders China. She's like, no, that's not true. Bang, right there. It's little, little section. And it's like, well, possibly that's where, anyway, but either way, like we talk about these opioid ideas, right? And it's something we talked about like for a long time. Like, there's been a target of us trying to go into China. And, I think that we've been trying to go into China. But either way, like our problems have already been created from who? From ourselves. We're the ones that actually literally create this problem, right? In Afghanistan. And there's deeper things there. Like why, if this is 90% of the opioids came from this area, why are we spending this much money in Afghanistan then? It's who's benefiting?
Exactly.
And right, who's benefiting? The people that have probably a lot of money. So not to go on and on, but like, so in Philadelphia, the port was actually raided like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, by ATF, and it was all cocaine. And it was the largest hit DEA basically hit in the entire United States history. And who was actually hitting that? Who was actually funding it? And they found ties to JP Morgan Chase, the bank, was actually the whole ship that infiltrated everything in. Yeah.
Wow.
And it was probably $1 to $2 billion in cocaine. So I'm saying it's like we're talking about drugs. Well, maybe those people that are extremely wealthy are the ones that are actually the ones funding it, and then once they get caught, we'll brush that on the rug. It's basically what I've seen. So is that geography? Going back to geography. So So Afghanistan has a very tight border with China and can actually go in with their opioids. So, yeah.
So let's.
I'm sorry. Like,
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. All right. So here we go. Let's hear what she's saying. All right.
Important to know a foreign language, or is it important to know the location of countries in which important news is being made? More than half of them said no. So not knowing where Iraq is on a map, that's ignorance. Saying it's not important to know where it is on a map is saying I'm ignorant and proud of it.
So then let me ask you, what is the thrust of your beginning the book with the quote from Jefferson? Are you prophesying here that having dumbed down, we cannot also be free?
I consider it a cautionary quote. If things keep going the way they're going, if there isn't some kind of a concerted effort to deal with this problem, I don't see how anything in our political culture can get better.
But you seem to be, still to me, you seem to be kind of so uneasy about that Jeffersonian thought. Here it is. You can't dumb down and be free.
I am uneasy about it. I mean, we can be free technically in the sense that we go to the polls, but certainly the founders thought it was really their main article of faith that democracy and maintaining it depended on an informed citizenry, a citizenry that was much more widely informed and more committed to free inquiry than the United States was at the time of independence. That's why they had a lot of faith in education. But as your old teacher Hofstadter pointed out, democratization of education was always coupled in America with a suspicion of too much learning. So that the idea of practical learning for better jobs and maybe better citizenship was always an American ideal. On the other side, it was always this suspicion of the person who knows too much, talks too good.
So the pandering isn't all that new.
No, the pandering isn't all that new. But what has changed in the last 40 years, and again, Hofstadter couldn't have anticipated this. He was writing really at the beginning of the video culture. What has happened, I think, that has added to all of the endemic American anti-intellectual tendencies that Hofstadter talked about is the saturation of our culture by 24/7 infotainment, which was just beginning. And it shows itself in the fact that we are becoming a nation not of illiterates, but as I say, of alliterates. We are people who increasingly don't read books. According to the National Endowment for the Arts in 2006, only more than half of Americans under 44 read no book at all last year, other than what they might have needed to read if they were still in school. By that, I mean no book. I don't mean that they didn't read Proust or Henry James. I mean that they didn't read any book, no detective story, no bodice ripper romance, no self-help book, nothing.
And you agree with my other late friend, Neil Postman, that we are amusing ourselves to death.
Yes. And Neil Postman's book, which was published in 1986, was very prescient.
See, Allah or God in the Quran tells us that the life of this world is nothing but what? Amusement and play. And they're talking about this. This is 24/7, infotainment, everything at the touch of your hand. And these children, go ahead. What did you, Gary, say, Brother Nassim?
I was going to say there was a time when TV used to go off at a certain time at night,
Right.
and there was no computer.
Exactly.
The phone was hanging on the wall. You couldn't hold it in your hand and just go
Exactly.
online and just constantly have something in your hand entertaining you. Now it's just like she's saying, we've been saturated
With entertainment.
all kind of. It's actually made the people lazy.
Exactly.
People don't really, if they can go to a web page and find a tad bit of information, they're not going to read a book. They're going to go online and go to Google and get their information from there rather than do it the old-fashioned way.
Exactly.
And that has made people a little less intelligent.
Now, and think about that. It's like when you're writing a text message, right? The word pops up for you. You don't even have to spell it anymore.
Right. Yeah.
And you,
I hate,
if you
I
don't,
hate
exercise,
that. I hate it. I hate
yeah,
it.
if you don't exercise that brain, you start to forget it, and we become reliant on this technology.
No, not to cut you off.
Uh-huh.
Is that have you talked about metaverse?
Mm.
Have you heard about metaverse?
The metaverse thing with who was that?
Zuckerberg.
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg.
All right, so they're planning. So Facebook is no longer Facebook now.
It's meta.
They
Yeah.
are right. So the whole idea is all VR. It's all virtual reality now. So it's the stuff we talked about, that you talked about, that they're trying to be God, right? Now they're creating their own universe in a sense.
And
So, right. So now if you're connected to the metaverse, you're under their control. Like that's not some like fake stuff. That's literally happening right now.
Mhm.
So if you connect to the metaverse, they can see everything you're saying, hang with, do that. So it's going to be VR. You wear VR glasses, all plugged in, and you can see and interact with everybody, but they can also see everything you're doing.
But
They
it's,
create, yeah.
and that's funny because remember that movie with what's his name? The guy from Die Hard, Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis, yeah.
He had a movie that was similar to that, where you would plug into this other reality.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the movie though.
Ash is like trying to figure it out. She's like, oh, I know that.
You remember what it was?
She's like trying to.
It
Yeah.
was,
I don't think I saw that one.
you didn't think you saw that one?
No, I don't think I saw that one.
Dang, what was it called? Oh my God.
This is on Netflix.
Yeah, I had to look it up. But yeah,
It's so good. So I know we're deviating a lot, but
no,
like,
that's all right. We talked.
yeah, we're deviating a lot, but that's what I thought about you when the stock market came out. Just what it was like last week or the other week, and now Facebook is now Meta.
Surrogates.
Yeah.
Surrogates. That's what she said.
Surrogates. Yep, that's it.
Yeah,
Thanks,
yeah,
Ashley. It was
she
a
got
surrogate.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
So yeah, like when I saw that, I said, "Holy cripes! They're trying to create the universe so that we're there, and they are God of the universe." Yeah, yeah. They're creating.
And it's funny because a lot of this stuff is leading into that. Like if you think about it, now that they're trying to be all knowing,
Right?
because everything you do on your phone, your text messages, your email, everything they know.
Look, when everything broke yesterday about Omicron, I went through all the articles. They knew everything about, like, when we talked about maybe like 10 years ago, and it was a delay when they actually. It's okay. There's a delay to it. When there was a delay to the knowledge, there was a delay. There is no more. There is no delay anymore. It's very quick.
Instantaneous.
Yeah. Yeah, because they know what they're doing. So
this is what I always tell people is that this is not man's plan. This is Shaitan's plan or Satan's plan.
Yeah.
Because this stuff is it's like,
And look, I look up Satanism, and I've been telling you and showing you all the guys that I've been researching. Now they're all shut down on YouTube. Everybody, they got shut down, and good, for good reasons. So yeah, I agree with it. And if anybody goes and says like Satanism isn't real or whatever, no, it's real.
It's real.
It's real.
Guys are crazy.
It's real.
These guys are crazy.
They're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, so here we go. We're gonna listen to
I just never thought it was real. Now I know it's real. I found it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, Yeah, it's very, very interesting. Here we go. I'm gonna we'll play about 3 more minutes of this. Because I want her to move us to a point. All right, so here we go.
He was published that book at the dawn of the computer era. He, in other words, he hadn't seen what the visual use of the web would do and how greatly enhance the ability of people.
And when you think about it, the WWW stands for the World Wide Web, right? What does a web do?
It traps its victim.
It captures,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And this is what the World Wide Web is doing. It's capturing all of our information. Everything that we do on this computer can be traced or tracked or recorded. The same thing with the phones. Everything, So it's very, very interesting. All right, but this interview was done in 2008. And they're talking about a guy now who, like before, he didn't get to see a lot of the stuff that's going on. But hear what she has to say here.
People to entertain themselves 24 hours a day would be by mobile digital technology. We've become so used to this. And the fact is, it's only 10 to 15 years that we've had the capacity through various portable devices to carry our entertainment with us 24 hours a day if we want to do it. And if you ride a bus in New York City, you know that a lot of people do want to do it.
And the consequences, more dumbing down.
The consequences are that for every time you spend in passive forms of acquiring information and entertainment, you're not doing something else. Now, if you've read any of the reviews of my book, you see that some of them have taken me to task for being a technophobe. And I'd sort of like to answer the critics who aren't here. I'm not a technophobe. I simply point out that computers, the web, they're tools. They're wonderful tools. They're great tools for getting information. I'm really happy that when I forget a date, that I don't have to go through 10 books to find it. I can just click on the internet and find out what the date of some battle was, or how to spell the name of some country whose name has been changed. But that's just information. It's a shortcut to getting information. That information doesn't mean anything. One, if you don't know how to look for it, that is to say, you don't know what you're looking for. But most particularly, it doesn't mean anything if it doesn't connect to a body of knowledge. I compare it to the web to a calculator. Now, when I do my tax returns, I don't add up the figures by hand. I use a calculator when I send stuff to my accountant. But I know, for example, I understand fractions and percentages. If something came out $100,000 that ought to be only $10,000, I would know immediately in my head, because I understand the basic processes of math and percentages, that it was wrong. I might not know the exact dollar amount it was wrong, but I would know. But kids who only learn calculators can get the right answer. But if the calculator goes haywire, they'll be at a loss if they don't understand percentages and fractions. And
so they're making people dependent on the technology. So if, like she said, if they didn't have that calculator, if they didn't have that text capability to give you the word, the correct spelling of the word, what happens?
And we were talking about that last night. Like, there's just like, you are so dependent upon they get the right answer. Like before I went to art, I was a science guy, and I always wanted to know the right answer. But as an artist now, I have to problem solve, and she's a really good problem solver.
Ashley the bomb.
smart. So the thing is, like, exactly that, and that's what when I make work, I create and I present and I evolve. So now I want to go back into science a little bit, because I actually want to take that creativity, not because it's not that it's the answer that I'm going to get because the book says that's right. And but you taught me that. You also taught me that.
But think about it too, because it's like, all right, dang, I just lost my thought. Yeah, but she's hitting on a lot of areas, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, you think about our children today, a lot of them don't have those thinking skills. And in school, they focus on math and reading, right? They get like double, triple periods of math and reading, but at the expense of what? Social studies and science. So they're not learning about history. They're not learning about the Constitution and their rights, right? You know, so, you know, they're not learning that science, not really being exposed to it, you know, that much, where a lot of times when people are exposed to science, they believe, they learn to believe in God because they can see the miracles of this creation and like, dang, well, you know, there's no way that this thing just happened by accident or whatever. This is detailed organization. This is a detailed creation, you know.
Yeah.
And if you know about space and the planets and the sun and our solar system and all this stuff, it helps you to understand, hey, wait a minute, I think it's something more to this than. But if you keep them, they just want basic functioning citizens, people that can do basic math and do basic reading and not question anything. And that's what's happening. That's why
I think they might be actually trying to change that system. So is what I've been seeing. So Ashley and I were actually literally listening to Noam Chomsky's like manufacturing consent last night. And I said, I want to listen to this because I haven't listened to it in 10 years. And everything you're saying is basically some of the things that he brought up, but there's also the same things that Chomsky has literally just said, that the vaccinated, like you texted me, the unvaccinated are the ones that are, you know, the now detriment to society. So, you know, I take it with a grain of salt a little bit, but, you know, hearing him make that kind of statement as being a person that's very, what is it? He's socialist, anarchist socialism, right? And grew up in Philly, all this kind of stuff. But at the same point, like, he brought that up, and I'm like, so why don't I have autonomy to my body? And you think that's wrong. And you think that's really major. I mean, when you texted me about that and showed me, I saw it too. Before you texted me, I saw that, I was like this, like, you know.
Well, sometimes out there, they put what we call controlled opposition. They have
I know, and I'm more afraid that he might be controlled opposition, and that makes me more scared.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's interesting when there's someone that you kind of look to and you admire, and then something happens that you're like, wait a minute. But it goes back to that what we were talking about before. You judge someone by their actions,
right?
You know,
right.
what they do, you know. And now them coming out with those statements is very interesting, you know. But let me let her finish up. She's got a couple more minutes with this, and then I want to show you the next thing I want her to lead us into.
Just as an aside, our 15-year-olds are nearly at the bottom in all developed nations in their math literacy. So this is a kind of across the board thing. Well, the relationship of computers to knowledge is very much like the relationship of calculators to math. What computers have in them is what we put in them. What we get out of them is what we look for in. So if you're looking for great things, you can find them on the internet. And if you're looking for garbage, if what you want to do is watch people indicting their estranged spouses on YouTube and throwing up on YouTube, you'll do that. Garbage in, garbage out. Now, a lot of people are very angry at me for saying that computers are just tools. And I don't know why. This may be one of the problems that America has, is an almost childlike faith in technological solutions to every problem, as though what was on the web isn't what people have put there, as though it exists as some kind of a godlike source of knowledge.
And it's funny when we go back to this, because it makes me think about when we talk about the computer in general. And when it was, the people that designed it. And you think about the Apple computer, and what's the logo of the Apple computer? It's that apple with the what? The bite taken out of it. Why isn't it just an apple? Because these people that designed it are occultists. And that bite represents going back to the tree of knowledge. In the story of Adam and Eve, when they talked about the tree of knowledge. And
Abdullah, what happened to Steve Jobs?
yeah, didn't he? What did he do? He what?
He's gone. He's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I think when I had my iPhone and my Apple, and I had everything, and I felt like I was free knowledge and easy, and now not so much.
Yeah.
And I think that, he had pancreatic cancer and he's gone. He's nowhere alone.
But see, the thing is that, even when you go back to that story and you look at how much they priced the first Apple computer at, which was $666.66. So all of these connections is very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. But here we go. Now, this is what I want to go ahead. Somebody was saying something?
No, I was just saying that somebody actually said that the Omicron came out. I haven't looked it up today, but somebody said that Omicron came out yesterday and was actually 666 of the actual day of when it came out in January of 2020 of COVID. And I have not found that.
Researched it, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just saying. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of like how they operate, though. But I mean, we had to look into it, though. But I want you to hear this. Now, this is a few students sitting around talking about their smartphones. And I want you to just listen to the conversations. Listen to what they say.
Smartphones have only been in existence for about a decade, but for better or worse, they've revolutionized our world. Problem is, many researchers say smartphones are making us dumber. 8 on Your Science, John Rogers has been researching the issue and joins us now to enlighten us a little. I told you before this story, I'm not sure I want to hear what you have to say. I have 2 phones. I walk around like this.
I'm the same way. Yeah, doing this story, Jen, was very educational because it actually made me realize my over-reliance on my cell phone. I'm constantly looking at this even if I don't have a notification. Now, sure, these things keep us informed, connected, and entertained. But as the old saying goes, you can never have too much of a good thing. In this interconnected, information-obsessed culture, many of us depend on our smartphones, like these 3 students from Hillsborough Community College.
It's my life, to be honest. I can't go.
This young man just said, it's my life. That's how dependent he is on this phone. It's my life.
A day without it.
I think it stems from like caring what people think about you and just wanting to have friends.
But researchers like USF psychology professor Dr. Paul Ashley think smartphones could be doing us all more harm than good.
So if something is tapping your attention and therefore tapping your willpower, in a sense, you can say it is making you a bit dumber.
Dr. Ashley believes smartphone apps are designed to condition your mind so you respond to those bells and notifications. Once you've grown accustomed to responding to these messages, you lose the willpower to make smart choices. For example, this is why people are compelled to text and drive.
Because we're distracted, we end up doing it, even though we know better.
Numerous studies show smartphones are shortening our attention spans, stifling creativity, and hurting our ability to retain information.
In my English classes, they'll have to get onto us about using like text lingo and our essays and stuff.
And even spell simple words.
Well, the big one is like though, like THO instead of though, THOUGH.
But we're also losing simple skills that were commonplace just decades ago. Do you guys have a lot of phone numbers memorized?
That's too much to remember, all those phone numbers.
Now think about it. You lose that phone, that's it. That's it. You don't know anybody. It's a done deal because we are dependent on these phones.
Thank God for the cloud.
Without pulling out your phone or using a compass, would you know what direction's north?
I kind of by the clouds and the wind, maybe, but
What?
yeah.
Man, he's a victim already. You see?
Yeah.
You don't know North?
I don't drive, so.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I
Are you
drive, so
serious?
but I use my GPS. I don't read signs. I
I
just
know.
use my GPS and I just go where.
And speaking of GPS,
Tampa's over here. Okay.
map reading is becoming a lost art.
Oh, jeez. I don't even know which way to hold it.
See how long this takes? We would have been crushed.
These students think scientists are giving smartphones a bad rap.
But honestly, it helps me a lot with school. Like I do like my PowerPoints on it too and everything.
When they just get to a point where they're just so dumb, they don't know that 2 + 2 = 4. Like it's like I gotta go to Siri to know how to think, and then that's where I think the problem comes into play. So.
Dr. Ashley said,
So people are becoming where they can't think for themselves, and they're dependent on other people to think for them. Think about it. The news, oh, we gotta go to the news. Whatever they tell us on the news, that's what we believe. They don't have any type of opinions or anything. But if it says it on the news, it's a part of that programming that they're used to.
there are benefits to unplugging.
When you're not connected by these devices and your brain's not being constantly distracted, your ability to be creative goes up. You come up with better solutions to problems. You're more empathetic to other folks.
Ultimately, it's all about finding a healthy balance.
I really want to emphasize turn off the notifications. Like if you have a problem, seriously turn off the notifications.
Use it wisely and realize that there's more to life than your cell phone.
The story was fun to work on. Now, one big thing smartphones are doing is hurting interpersonal communication. The students told me they constantly see people fail to recognize nonverbal cues. We're so used to putting up a persona on our Instagram accounts and communicating by text that we're losing our ability to have meaningful conversations in real life, Jen.
Yeah, but you know what? I think part of it is FOMO, which is fear of missing out. That's what
true.
the kids say. So
It's a real
you
thing.
just want to look and see what everybody else is engaged in. But I have to imagine there are some good tips that you've learned in doing this story.
Yeah, a lot of it's just very elementary. Main thing is really just set boundaries. Keep your phone away at dinner time, turn off at night, take regular detox sessions from your phone. Instead, go outside, go work out, or learn something new like a hobby.
So much easier said than done,
Yeah.
John Rogers. Thank you very much.
And when we really think about it, it's like we're really almost like cyborgs already.
Yeah.
These people with these phones, I mean, it's like we hold these phones like it's a part of us. I mean, you ever left the house and don't have your phone? Shoot.
There was an actual couple that walked past me when I was with Erica, and the baby was in the carriage on like an iPad. Like literally, she was like had to be like 2, and they're all on the phone. Mom's like looking at the phone, dad's looking at the phone, pushing the carriage, and they're just staring at the phone. All of them at 2 years old. And it's like what?
Yeah, and you go to the supermarket rather than, screaming. A kid starts screaming, parents will give them a tablet or their phone to look at so that they're not screaming and wanting things.
Yep.
It's weird.
And the crazy thing is that when we give our children this technology, we're basically giving them everything. They can go on anything. They can go on practically any and everything that they want to.
Yeah.
So here we go. I'm going to jump to this. Now, after looking at this, dang, I think this is out of place. But I might as well go over it now. So I was looking at the news, and I had screenshotted it, but I didn't get a chance to put it on the slideshow. But the Homeland Security, they were talking about on anniversary of 9/11, and they were saying that the potential terror threats now are opposition to COVID measures. Okay. You could be considered a terrorist if you oppose the COVID measures. They had claims of election fraud, believe Trump can be reinstated. They had the 9/11 anniversary and religious holidays. But the National Terrorism Alert ahead of 9/11 20th anniversary, this is what they were saying. That if you are in opposition to the COVID measures, you could be considered a terrorist. Why? Now, this is very interesting, y'all, because you gotta see where this is moving. There were teachers who were upset about literature that was being put in the school's libraries. And they also were, dealing with the critical race theory thing. And now they're considering some of them terrorists. There were people who were fighting because they were angry because there were these books dealing with homosexuality and pedophilia and all this stuff in their children's library at school. And they were upset. And they, someone got angry or whatever, and they were saying things. And now they were talking about considering them.
Not to cut you off, but I'm gonna tell you that the only people I ever heard this from, critical race theory, have been from Fox News watchers, and obviously that's being promoted through that news agency.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna throw it out there, because in my district, I'm not treated or trained in critical race theory at all.
Right.
And the thing is, I don't even know what that is. Honestly, everything you just said, I don't even know what it is.
Well,
I don't look at it that way, because I don't want to know if it's being promoted on Fox News.
Well, the thing is this, and this is why what I was trying to figure out about it. Just teach history. Why do you have to label this? And the reason why they're labeling it is because they want to cause division.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's why I didn't feed in.
Teach history. If you want to teach about slavery, teach it. You don't have to label it. You don't have to. No, it's a part of American history.
Right.
Just teach it. What is
the
all
other thing
of
that's upsetting is that, as an artist and as an art person, when they start taking down monuments, from history, this is the history. Why are you taking that down? That's a record of, yes, there might have been racism. Is it something that should be good? No, it's horrible. But guess what? Keep it, because that's a monument to the history of the mark. That's what it was.
Well, some people, because of some of the cruelty that some of these people committed, the cruelties in the world that they committed, and feel like they don't need, they don't think that they deserve a monument, And I can go ahead. What'd you say, brother?
I'm totally fine with it, but the thing is, when you erase history, it's like burning a book.
Yeah.
I
can see your point in that, but I also see the other side of it too.
Well, I can too.
Are there any statues of Adolf Hitler in the world?
Oh well, that's a great statement.
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah, I mean,
wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, of course he's a part of history, but you don't celebrate because of what he's done.
Okay, so not to go into too deep, but I actually own like Mein Kampf. But why I wanted to read Mein Kampf is because, well, what did he say, and why, and what controlled people to actually do that?
Yeah, but that's still philosophical, understanding their beliefs into why someone is who they are. That's not a monument saying, praise Hitler for everything he did. No one wants that.
Right.
Yeah, right. But
I mean, the same thing.
I see it as book burning.
No, but I mean,
let's get rid of Mein Kampf, because that's what Hitler destroyed the world. And the thing is, I say no, because you know what?
Well, a lot of the statues,
to know what the statements were for the people.
Yeah, but a lot of the statues were this person who was a huge proponent of slavery, blah blah blah, did horrible, flogged people, whatnot, are they're the ones that founded this town. Now, so that's
And that you're getting into deep stuff. You are all
Those
you
are the
guys have deep
statues-
stuff. Like it's
Those
like
are the
so deep.
statues that were removed. The people that were like founders of towns or prominent people in that town's history,
You're getting
but
deep. Like,
did
you're
all
getting
these
real
horrible
deep.
things.
So Abdullah, like
Go ahead,
So-
Ashley. I hear you.
she's
That's a
freaking
point.
smart. But the thing is, I actually when I was with Erica, we went up to the art museum in MoMA, and we looked at all the history of the work that was created by certain people. And art is so important as an artist. It is the cultural statement of the period. So yes, you can get rid of it and break it and destroy it. But in a sense, you're just saying like, that's my, that's like my history and I don't like it anymore. So I get rid of it. So that's why I say that. I think it's a history that you don't want to talk about. And I think it should be there because it's a monument, not to a good thing. It's just, that's what it was, the good thing at the time. And
Yeah, but I think people look at
people were 3/5 of a person.
Yeah, people generally look at, if you have a monument to a person, and that's something that's glorifying them.
Right.
And the thing is that when you even look back at Christopher Columbus and the horrible things that he did to the natives here, some people saw him as a great man because he was of their people. But for those people that were the victims of what he did, they feel horrible about it. Like, oh, that's
so should we so my argument is that basically, should we just disregard that Christopher Columbus ever existed?
No, but then there's the debate, like the
because human nature,
there's people that no longer celebrate Christopher Columbus Day, but they still talk about history.
But okay,
they don't praise it.
But my thing is, should we actually disregard that part of human nature, that we disregard that humans can actually do this to others?
It's still like taught, but the actual thing. So like Christopher Columbus, for example, he's still taught history, but they're not celebrating him because he's no longer like this glorified person that discovered America.
No, I disagree. Yeah, and I think that I disagree majorly. And then
about what?
Because you're basically saying Christopher Columbus, like we're going to just erase him from history.
No,
but
not
knowing
at all.
That
he's
what
still
he
being
did,
taught.
So he's there. I understand what you're saying with like, we're not going to glorify him, but keep it there because you should know about Christopher Columbus and human nature to kill and genocide.
Yeah. So he's still taught. He's just not celebrated.
Well, how do you know that?
Because he's still part of the history books.
What happens when you get rid of the
books? Look, y'all got a nice debate going on there.
How do you know this person existed when they're gone?
You know
exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, we can know he existed. I mean, but some people just feel as though that's glorification of him. Like there's people that do positive things, and if they were to get a statue, that was something, be something positive to glorify them. But since these people did committed so many heinous acts that they feel as though they shouldn't be glorified in that way.
And that's what I totally agree with. Okay. But they should still be there, that you don't.
Okay, move them to like the town museum, not keep them in the center square.
But you're not disregarding.
I understand. Y'all gonna go at it for the rest of the time. Y'all gonna have to film part 3 for us. Y'all are going at it tonight. But it's good. It's healthy debate. Good. All right, but here we go. Let's look at this one. I put this in here as an example of the media and how they can try to change your perception. All right. But here we go.
Thank you to all of our partners. Oh my God, it's just such an unbelievable moment.
Brandon, you also told me, as you can hear the chants from the crowd, Let's go, Brandon. Brandon, you told me you were going to kind of hang back those first two stages and just watch and learn. What did you learn that helped you there in those closing laps?
Oh my God, it was learning how each line didn't stay to one, and everything shifted top to bottom so much.
Watch how I run up ramps and he stumbles down ramps.
I literally had kids in my classroom in the background yelling all that
Now,
last week.
but now it's interesting that the reporter, clearly heard what he was saying. I know I actually heard it. You clearly heard what they were saying, but the media tried to spin it. The reporter tried to spin it and say they were saying, let's go, Brandon.
So here's the thing, when the part of the camera, like when it was, you had to hear it was like two different microphones. Where she was reporting, it was kind of hard, it was kind of muffled. You couldn't make it sound like either. But when it went to the other microphone, when they did the aerial view, it was obviously like what it was. So was it actually intentional, or did she just mishear it?
But it's actually interesting because sometimes they can manipulate the footage too.
Yeah.
They've done that before. I have a couple of videos showing how they
deepfakes now.
Well, yeah, they got the deepfakes now, but even before then, they were able to. I remember there was a concert. I'm not a concert. There was a speech by Hillary Clinton, and they were able to go in and manipulate, the boos that she was receiving and made them the cheers. So it's a lot of things that they can do with video manipulation too. But they were clearly saying, Joe Biden. Yes. But now I want y'all to see this, all right? And remember, a lot of times in movies, they address certain issues, all right? The movie could be telling you something. It could, it could be a message to a group of people. But just listen to this. This is very interesting. All right, but check this out. This is from the movie Resident Evil. All right, but listen to what he says here.
After the T-virus was released, a secret file was uploaded to my data stream. It was a recording of a meeting of the Umbrella High Command, dated 17 months before the viral outbreak occurred.
We are here today not just to talk about the future of this company. We're here to talk about its destiny. We're here to talk about the end of the world. We stand on the brink of Armageddon, diseases for which we have no cure. Fundamentalist states who call for our destruction, nuclear powers over which we have no control. And even if we navigate these dangerous waters, we face other, even more inevitable threats. Global warming will melt the polarized gaps within 80 years, flooding 90% of all habitable areas on Earth. Unchecked population growth will overtake food production in less than 50 years, leading to famine.
And a lot of these movies address population, overpopulation, because they're trying to convince the masses that there are too many people on the earth. Same thing with the Avengers. Remember the Avengers? The main enemy in the Avengers series was who? Thanos, right? What was Thanos trying to do? Did y'all see Avengers?
Probably a while ago, but I remember Thanos. I remember the big guy.
Yeah. What was his agenda? Anybody know what his agenda was?
Kill them all off.
Remember, he was
Yeah.
He was trying to reduce the population in the universe.
Do you remember what I sent you this summer?
What was
that? It
was
the symbol of the umbrella where that
came
from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jesuits.
Yeah.
That same symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny. Like, well, I'll show you. But just listen to this guy. Listen what he's saying, because it's all very interesting.
And war, this is not conjecture. This is fact.
But what he just described was what the Bible would talk about was the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, right? Right? Famine, pestilence, war, and what's the other one?
But climate change or something?
No, I'm trying to think of the four horsemen of the apocalypse.
You're talking about like what's his name?
Death. It was death. I think it was death. Yeah. But it's very interesting. But listen to the conclusion.
It sounds like Bill Cooper. Sound like Bill Cooper with the four horsemen, the pale horse. Yeah.
But behold the pale horse, right? But listen to him. Listen what he says.
One way or another, our world is coming to an end. And the question is, will we end with it?
What do you propose?
I propose that we end the world.
He said, I propose that we end the world, right?
But on our terms, an orchestrated apocalypse, one that will cleanse the earth of its population but leave its infrastructure and resources intact. It's been done once before with great success. The chosen few will ride out the storm, not in an ark as in the book of Genesis, but in safety, underground. And when it's...
They built all these bunkers, got all these underground bunkers and everything.
It's over. We will emerge onto a cleansed earth, one that we can then reboot in our image.
And just how do you intend to achieve this?
The means of our salvation are already at hand. I give to you the T virus.
Fairly deliberate. When this recording was uploaded to my data stream, it created a conflict in my programming. I was created to serve the Umbrella Corporation, but I was also programmed to value human life. Dr. Isaacs allowed the virus to escape. He murdered over 7 billion people. My programming will not allow me to harm an employee of the Umbrella Corporation. I am powerless to stop Dr. Isaacs, but you are not. In 37 minutes, the last of the human settlements will fall. There will be no survivors. It is imperative you release the antivirus before this occurs, or Umbrella will have one.
That was interesting to me.
Huge.
Huge, right?
Huge.
Huge. But now here's another one. But this one is from 1981. 1981. This is from the movie called Early Warning. 1981. All right, but check this out.
What about the individuals who refuse to have this number implantation?
We expect some minor resistance, especially from highly motivated religious groups. But eventually, hunger will cause even the most zealous to conform to our program.
Think about what he just said.
Abdullah, come on. Like you're the guy that basically was showing me things like 2019 that was it New York State got rid of all the exemptions, religious vaccine mandates, not mandates, but the exemptions. They got rid of all of them in 2019.
Right. But now,
come on.
But think about what this guy just said, though.
Yeah, the hunger. When they get
The
hungry.
The hunger.
Why
So,
aren't people not getting vaccinated?
There you go.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. But see, in the Quran, God tells us that he would test us with fear and hunger. And sometimes you got to kind of stick to your guns and, say, well, and there's a lot of people that are fighting. And because they're fighting, that, they have pushback and they're not putting in place a lot of things.
Blowback, right? Blowback. Yeah. Blowback.
Yeah. But now check this out, because this is going to get a little bit deeper in terms of what he says here.
Gentlemen, I believe that within a year, 2 at the most, our one world government will be a reality. If we continue on our present course, it is my opinion that we could present the devil himself as a world leader and the people would accept him.
We can present the devil himself as a leader and the people would still follow. I gotta hear that one more time, y'all. That was
He could present the devil himself as a world leader, and the people would accept him.
Good find. Good
The
find.
question is, who is we?
Right. That's a
the
good
big
point.
question.
That's a good point.
The clip I just showed you was from the 1981 film entitled Early Warning. Initially, this film didn't get much attention. However, it is now 40 years later, and people are starting to notice something a little bit strange. Here, see for yourself.
I would like to thank each and every one of you for your hard work and dedication to our cause. In reviewing this year's progress, let me say that we have been highly effective in conditioning the people's minds to accept our solution to the world's problems. The energy crisis here in the United States was exceptionally successful worldwide.
energy crisis.
Wow.
All right.
And look,
what's going
Muslim looks like a Muslim guy.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
Saudi Arabian.
Uh-huh. OPEC.
What's the symbol behind him?
When he's talking, it's a 666.
There's 66 behind her, behind it.
Yeah, when he's talking.
So she just said.
Yeah, on the guy.
Yeah.
Behind him.
We expect similar success with our upcoming food shortage.
We expect similar success with our food shortage.
The upcoming.
666 behind him?
Yeah.
These guys are funny.
He's behind the guy that's talking, you'll see. If it goes back in.
Actually,
That sign. That's a
whoa. So she basically literally saw 666 behind his head.
Yeah.
This.
I didn't notice it behind his head. I noticed it on the guy's hand. But wow.
I didn't know
So
anything
go
either.
back to the beginning of where he starts talking and like that scene.
All right, let me move
You
back.
see a 666, legit.
Right
Yeah.
there. The blue.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
see the blue.
Yeah.
I didn't see it at 666 though.
It looked like
No, I say you know what? It's tricky because you can see it, visualize it in two different ways. But I see exactly when you look at just the blue, you can easily see it.
Yeah.
You don't see it. You don't see it yet.
I know I do, but I did it before.
Oh, you did it before. Okay.
Yeah.
Dang, go Ashley. Go ahead, Ashley. Ashley is on it.
Yeah, how they say?
No, she's very observant. Very observant. Very observant. Here we go.
The energy crisis here in the United States was exceptionally successful worldwide, and we expect similar success with our upcoming food shortage. Our labor leaders have made great progress by causing confusion and work stoppages in all areas.
Yeah.
Exactly what's happening now.
Exactly what's happening now. Confusion and work stoppages.
Of the world. Financially, the dollar is being devalued even faster than we could have hoped. Politically, the public has lost total confidence in any form of government. The threat of universal war is a daily possibility. As you know, we ourselves do not need to hold any visible office of leadership. As a matter of fact, it's better that we do not. We control the finances, news media, food, transportation, energy. We control everything. It is important that you, as world leaders, keep our program before your country. With our World Bank and computer program operational, we now have the capacity to control the financial affairs of every human being on Earth by giving each.
Do you hear all of this stuff?
This is deep.
This is super deep. All right.
Person his own computer number. Anytime his number is used, we would know his financial situation at once. He could not buy or sell anything without his computer number. It will simplify their lifestyles tremendously. The end result will be a one-world monetary and government system that we alone will control. Yes.
What about the people who forget their number or their cards are lost or stolen?
We've made provisions for that. By using this laser imprinter, we can painlessly and permanently fix the person's number to the back of his hand or his forehead if he so desires. The numbers would be easily read by this new ultraviolet scanning equipment. For the purposes of demonstration, I've had such a number imprinted on myself. Once this number is imprinted, it cannot be lost nor can it be changed. Now, are there any questions?
What about the individuals who refuse to have this number implantation?
Ooh, what's going to happen? Parents
Especially from highly motivated religious groups. But eventually, hunger will cause even the most zealous to conform to our program. Gentlemen, I believe that within a year, 2 at the most, our one world government will be a reality. If we continue on our present course, it is my opinion that we could present the devil himself as a world leader, and the people would accept him.
What do you think about this clip from the movie? Please put your opinion in the comments section. And if you haven't done so already, don't forget to hit that like button. And until next time, thank you all for watching, and God bless you all.
Whoa.
Wow. Blow y'all away?
That's deep.
Just a little bit.
Just a teeny bit, right?
1981, huh?
1981.
I'm still in high school.
Wait. What year was this?
1981. Yes.
God.
But now I want you now think about what we just saw, right? And now I want you to look at this one. This is a quote from the movie or a book, Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah.
The dreamers of the day are dangerous men, for they may act their dream with open eyes to make it possible. And that's what's crazy about it. These people are trying to make this stuff a reality.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to make this a reality. And going back to this, because I told y'all before that these people, these elitists are heavily into the occult. They're into mythology, they're into numerology, they're into, Satanism, they're into, a whole bunch of things, all right, which they consider is hidden knowledge or secret knowledge. But this is the story of the phoenix. It says in ancient Greek folklore, a phoenix is a long-lived bird that cyclically regenerates or is otherwise born again, associated with the sun. And remember the thing with the sun, these people, a lot of these groups were into sun worship, okay? Because man's first, real enemy or early enemy that man thought of was the darkness. So when that sun rose, it made it warmer, it helped the crops to grow. So they really valued the sun. And a lot of these people worship the sun. Whereas Allah or God tells us that, that's there, to give you light, and to enable things to grow and stuff like that. That's all it is. But some people actually worship the sun, and to this day, they still worship the sun, even though science has shown us that there are suns out in the universe that are a billion times bigger than our sun, right? But these people still regard the sun as God, all right? But a phoenix obtains new life by rising from the ashes of its predecessor. So in other words, it consumes itself in its own fire and then rises again. And this is what these people are trying to accomplish. They want to destroy this old order of the world and create this new order of the world. Some legends say it dies in a show of flames and combustion, others that it simply dies and decomposes before being born again. All right. But looking at what's going on, this is more of the flames and combustion destruction, I think. But now here we go again. This is Rahm Emanuel. I know y'all probably saw this before, but this is Rahm Emanuel on the opportunities of a crisis.
you never want a serious crisis to go to waste. And what I mean by that, it's an opportunity to do things that you think you could not do before. I think America as a whole in 1973 and 1974, not just my view, but obviously the administration, missed the opportunity to deal with the energy crisis that was before us. For a long time, our entire energy policy came down to cheap oil. This is an opportunity. What used to be long-term problems, be they in the healthcare area, energy area, education area, fiscal area, tax area, regulatory reform area, things that we had postponed for too long that were long-term are now immediate and must be dealt with. And this crisis provides the opportunity for us, as I would say, the opportunity to do things that you could not do before. The good news, I suppose, if you want to see a silver lining, is the problems are big enough.
But this is their mentality.
Right.
This is how they think.
Exactly.
That they lend themselves to ideas from both parties.
Go ahead. What you say, Brother Cheryl?
No, they use it for making entire agenda policy. Right. They change. Right. So sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
Use it
for policy. Policy agenda change.
Yep.
You know.
And sometimes, well, not sometimes, most times, you know, it's a thing of another belief of theirs is problem, reaction, solution.
Right.
They create a problem, they get the reaction, but they already have the solution that they already want in place.
And how many times have we seen this happen?
Exactly. Exactly. Right. But this is their, you know, this is what they do. This is their thing.
For the solution. That is also, we didn't just do the meeting with Senator McCain and Senator Lindsay. The president did not have that meeting just for optics. We covered very serious issues as it relates to spending reforms on government approach. He brought the idea.
All right, I'm gonna stop this here because I know, I mean, that's the gist of what I wanted you to get from that and him to say that. All right. But now let's talk about a little bit about this, because this is another way of saying Phoenix, the Great Reset. Now we've heard about this. Have y'all heard about this Great Reset that they keep talking about? Well, that's a reset is just what the Phoenix does, right? A reset is basically what a Phoenix does. It rebirths itself or it resets itself. All right, but here we go. Now, that's one of the commercials that they released for the Great Reset, because they're openly talking about this Great Reset. All right. And
the COVID-19 crisis has shown us that our old systems are not fit anymore for the 21st century. It has laid bare the fundamental lack of social cohesion, fairness, inclusion, and equality. In short, we need a great reset.
You look like a madman. He look like a Marvel Comics villain or something. Now, let me see if I can click that part. Okay. A disturbing movement to reform capitalism is gaining traction by those using the coronavirus tragedy to call for the Great Reset. We can't let a good crisis go to waste. That's what this is saying, right? We can't let this go to waste. So this is Klaus Schwab, who is, they say, calling for a return to Marxist principles, claiming that capitalism has empirically failed. Now,
technically it has, but not. It's failed in its social responsibilities, and when we look at socialism, socialism will come in because they want to protect social society, but capitalism has worked, and has actually majorly worked. I mean, look at the society we have. Look at the major dynamics of technology that have been created from capitalism. But the problem is, those who are extremely powerful and wealthy are now destroying society to continue that. And that's my like random belief, but you know, it sucks. They're eating people like to just keep going.
Right.
They're not caring.
Well, well, if you look at the education system, what they're trying to do is basically create just functioning people.
Right. They want to create producers.
Right.
That's why when a girl asked me last week, she's like, I don't need this in my life. And you know, for the ones that are extremely advanced, when I mean advanced, Abdullah, like we see them at, I mean, you and me, we saw some advanced students.
Right.
You know, I gotta say something. I had so the kid that goes going to Saudi Arabia, some ignorant comment because none of the kids knew where I worked. And he goes and says, well, you know, because I worked in Strawberry Mansion. They only got, you went and said, well, these are some dumb kids. I said, actually, he's probably one of the smartest kids I've ever taught. And I teach some smart ass kids. So like part of my language, but at the same point, some of the kids I taught at Blaine were some of the smartest ever. So
despite
like,
and think
I
despite
checked
the environment,
despite
the environment, despite the environment.
Exactly. You don't deal with that. You grow up in this environment, this hard thing. And anyway, so I don't even know why I went on that, but I mean, the kids looked at me, the whole class looked at me, like, because we're talking about African Americans.
Because see,
and you know what I mean? Like, I was so angry.
Yeah.
That statement alone, I was so angry.
But see, the society has marginalized the African American. So remember, when the people have become marginalized, and what a lot of people are going to see, a lot of people of all races are going to feel this marginalization when you deal with this thing of the unvaccinated. Because now that's what's happening.
And you know, I'm working with a couple of people, who's probably one of the smartest people I ever met. And I literally went in to work, and she was like, the unvaccinated. Oh, and I said, you know what? I said, let's talk about the Tuskegee experiment. Let's talk about that.
Right. But even more recent.
Let's talk about people being marginalized and being treated that way.
Right.
By government, not acknowledged.
Exactly.
So,
I mean, if you look back at the movie The Godfather, and when in The Godfather, which won awards,
right?
They talked about saying that black people were animals and they don't have a soul, and you should put the drugs in their area. So
but
that's what
that's never
happens when people become marginalized. They do not get sympathy from anybody. You know, they're not getting it. They're not getting that sympathy from society. They don't.
And that's why everything you're doing, showing us this, like even Ashley, even myself, like I'm privileged to hear what you're saying because I am in a privileged position technically, and I'm going in like, what do you think about? Do you think about African Americans? Do you think, oh yeah, well, you know, they don't want to be vaccinated or they shouldn't be or whatever. And I'm like, there. Do you know my students that I taught literally would lose their college degree if they weren't like you helping Shamika? She'd lose everything.
Yeah.
And seeing where she came from in the inner city, and I would be devastated to know that that happened to Shamika. Like I would be so upset that she couldn't get her degree because she wanted to hold her line philosophically on a vaccine mandate. And you know, you did a great job.
Well, none of you know, I can't take anything from you know, that's all God.
Yeah, but that's an amazing thing to do, somebody.
Yeah.
So I just want to say, like, whatever we just watched right now, but I just want to say, like, you philosophical. Like I told you, I was online talking with people, typing, and they're like, I said, have you lost your mind? Like, I was banned, literally defending an African American female getting an education from the inner city. No, it didn't matter.
And see, the thing is that then you can really see that it's not about color. It's about righteousness. It's about righteous people. This thing is not about color. People keep trying. They've fallen for the division that these people have put out there. It's
It was
not
horrible.
about color.
That was horrible to see.
Yeah,
like
it's about righteousness.
literally online to see that.
Yeah, I mean, you're privy to see that, you know, that this is how some people are. This is what people, you know. But we know we see evil in all people. You know?
I just want to say thank you.
Oh,
I know.
Look, I said, I can't take no credit. You know, everything goes to God. You know,
just want to say thanks because you know what? When I'm online trying to help defend a person, and an African American woman, girl from the inner city of the hard parts of Philadelphia, and now can be denied her education when she worked everything and would be denied. That's horrible.
But see, the blessing is that you defended her.
Yeah.
You defended your position. A lot of people that just walked away wouldn't said nothing. But you stood up. So that means, you know, that shows that you have, you know, that righteous spirit about you. So, you know.
No, like, yeah, this is some deep stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But see, the thing is that we, you know, we all are going to get through it together, you know.
Yeah. Right.
As long as those people that are righteous work together, there's nothing to worry about, you know. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
But
to add to that point, there's really only two types of people. You're either righteous or you're rebellious, one or the other.
Right.
And you just got to pick a side, you know, and just everybody do their small part.
Yep.
You know, to help this thing get better.
Yep. And that's the thing is, you know, this life is meant to be hard. It's a test. You know, we got y'all on our team. We got a team. Ashley and Cheryl. Ashley is a super addition to the team.
Smart. This is a smart cookie. Holy cripes. I've been telling her how smart she is.
Yeah, she's super smart.
And also too, just like, you know, most God-fearing people believe in heaven and hell. So the same way a person has to earn their way into heaven, there's also people who have to earn their way into hell.
Yeah.
And this is what they're doing.
That's a deep comment.
I mean, really think about what I'm saying.
Yep.
Like have you ever burnt your hand on the stove? Like
Yeah.
how long can you keep your hand there? You know, but for somebody to have to be put in hell, you have to be a very, 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 I mean, you just had to be a really bad person
Mm-hmm.
to end up there. So the fact that there's people in this world that are doing things, you know, that are just heinous and atrocities toward the human life,
Mm-hmm.
they're earning their place.
Yep.
And we're going to see this. And,
And to add what you just said, Brother Nassim, that's why Allah says he's most merciful. That's why God says he's most merciful. So like you said, they are earning their way.
right.
Into
Right.
you know. And the thing is that it doesn't rain just for the righteous people, it rains for everybody.
Right.
You know, when the rain comes down, it's for everybody, you know, the righteous and the unrighteous. That shows you the mercy of God, you know.
Right.
So it's just interesting. How are y'all on time? Because
Oh, you keep going. Like I am away.
because I'll hang on here all night. So
Yeah.
don't say that.
As long as we're done by noon tomorrow, we're good.
As long as it's by noon tomorrow, we're good.
All right. Well, let's hit a couple more of these points because I do want to get to that Omicron stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So well, I'll hit you with this one. This is from Batman. All right. Remember the Batman movie, The Dark Knight Rises?
Yeah.
There was so much stuff in this movie. There were so many things in this movie that we could probably do a whole session on that. But here we go. I'm just going to show you this trailer. All right. But listen to this trailer. This is from 2012.
Can you see by the dawn's early light?
You are as precious to me as you were to your own mother and father. I swore to them that I would protect you, and I haven't.
The mayor's gonna dump him in the spring. Really? Mm-hmm. But he's a hero, a war hero. This is peacetime.
You think this will last? There's a storm coming, Mr. Wayne.
She said, you think this is going to last? There's a storm coming, Mr. Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But when I saw this trailer, it made me think about this country. All right. Now listen what else she says.
You and your friends better batten down the hatches. Because what it is, you're all gonna wonder how you ever thought you could live so large and leave so little for the rest of us.
Did y'all hear what she said? Well, y'all couldn't hear it.
Did she say we're arresting them or arresting us?
No.
What'd she say?
She said
I couldn't hear
something.
it.
All right, let me see if I can get it back.
Yeah, that's not anything you did. It's audio, like it's so
Could you
distorted.
put closed captions on?
Yeah.
Oh
closed
yeah, let me
captions.
try that. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go.
All right, I told you she's sharp.
So large.
All right, good. Go.
Oh man.
Yeah, she
Peacetime.
Now wait a minute. Let me go back.
Really? Mm-hmm. But he's a hero, a war hero. This is peacetime.
You think this will last? There's a storm coming, Mr. Wayne. You and your friends better batten down the hatches. Because what it is, you're all gonna wonder how you ever thought you could live so large and leave so little for the rest of us.
Arabic. Wow, you see that? You see that, Abdullah? You see that? It's all in Arabic and
Rise.
Now, when I saw that, it made me think about America and how our place in the world, and how, you know, we've been living large and we don't really have that, you know, many problems or like some of the other, you know, countries in the world.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, how we could live, you know, would she say, how you could live, you know, so, you know, large for so long, or
So little for the rest of us.
and so little for the rest of us.
Yeah.
You know, and it just makes me think about this country. Like that was like, you know, a very interesting thing to me, because everything that she kind of said, it kind of addressed this country.
Yeah.
If you think
Because
about
something is coming. They said a storm is coming.
if you think about it, it's always been like that. Like throughout human history, there's always been a nation or a country that had more wealth or more than the rest of the world, and over time, that power rotates to a different part of the world, and it's just happening again.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna like, I'm not to cut all of you off, but like, so a friend of mine years ago, it's like I was telling Ashley and my mom about like 5-6 years ago, the guy I worked with from the artist, his girlfriend that is married with another person literally said, I'm leaving the country. I'm out of here. I'm leaving. Literally, I'm leaving. And they moved. They had like acres of land, and we're going to like Europe, and we're leaving here because everything is going crazy. And Abdullah, I mean, Rashid, where we're talking like about this kind of stuff, it's kind of like borderline, like it could be propaganda. Hearing it from like the Russian, was a Russian professor was saying that Civil War or something, some BS. But I told Ashley, I mean, I'm scared. I am literally scared about right now in the country, like what's happening, because I'm seeing it in my classroom. I'm seeing white children basically being very aggressive, being very angry. I'm a little nervous. I'll tell you that. So when we see this stuff, I'm telling you, like, it ain't good. It ain't good.
Well, it's interesting because I used to do presentations at a place called Black and Nobel.
Right.
And I was talking to the owner one day, and he said that he had gotten a call from a woman from Israel. And she said to him, she said, oh, you know, y'all need to get out of there.
Shit.
She said it's going to be a shame of what they're going to do to America. And I was like, wow. But
Wow.
she actually
That's a deep statement.
Yeah, called them from Israel.
Wow.
And told them that, you know, it's a shame, you know, you better get out of there. And this was years ago. This was around the same time, maybe 2012, around that time period.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. But now this next thing I'm going to show you, this is a clip from an anime, all right? This was anime from 2007, all right? But it's just interesting how this virus thing was going through all different types of television shows and movies, right? But this one is called Vexo, all right? But check this one out.
It was 10 years ago, just after the government instituted the whole isolation policy. We began hearing reports of a mass epidemic, some unknown disease sweeping the country. The details were vague at first, nothing on the cause or transmission of the disease, only that it was highly contagious and in most cases, fatal. Before the general public even had time to react, the government declared a state of emergency and ordered a mandatory vaccination program for our.
It's the same stuff over and over again. It's programming, you know.
Protection, they said. As it turns out, that was the beginning of our nightmare.
The disease was complete government fabrication, and the supposed vaccine they were injecting into everyone, in reality, it was a cyber virus developed by Daiwa. The virus has a mutating effect on the cells of the body. It alters their molecular structure and converts them into biometal, essentially turning us into machines from the inside out. There's no way to stop it. And to make things worse, the cyber virus was still early in its experimental phase. What do you mean?
Daiwa didn't even know if it would work. It had never been tested on a large scale, so they turned Japan into their own private laboratory.
When it does work, the virus gradually progresses through the body until it finally reaches the brain. At that point, we become perfect androids under Daiwa's control. The speed of the process differs from person to person. Those of us who have yet to be fully assimilated, as best we can, we hold on to those fragments of our humanity that still remain. But even now, we can feel them slipping further and further away.
But it's like a host of movies that's dealing with almost the same plot.
What year was this, Abdullah?
This was 2007. 2007. All right. But now
that's crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy because there are so many shows that I've seen that had this theme of dealing with
hydrochloroquine. Remember hydrochloroquine?
Hydrochloroquine. Remember that?
Was that like 2004 or something?
That was 2005. That was the episode of the episode of the Dead Zone. Episode of the Dead Zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. But now
that's pretty major. Yeah.
Let's step into this supply chain crisis. Okay. Now, I showed y'all this years ago, right? Where this is in Alaska.
Yeah, my sister is there. So yeah.
And the half a watermelon was $36.96.
I remember this, yeah.
Right? This was
back. $6 watermelon.
She said, what'd you say, Ashley?
She
I complain over a $6 watermelon. The entire thing.
But see, this is what happens when it's hard to get things.
Inflation.
They call it hyperinflation.
Exactly. We talked about it.
But now let's return to Alaska. This is from August 8th, 2021. All right. Let's look at some of these.
I'm scared to watch this. Go ahead.
Let's look at some of these prices.
Oh my gosh. Go ahead.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Leg Life and welcome to the town of Barrow, Alaska, to Utqiagvik, Alaska. This is the northernmost town in Alaska and in the United States. We're here for a few days on a quick, honestly, a bucket list trip for me. I've never been here. I've always wanted to be. We go. I'm actually really excited to see what this is like. First thing we see when we walk in, a Krispy Kreme display for.
Damn.
A 6-pack, 6 donuts, $14.99.
$99 for 6 Krispy Kreme donuts. This is fun. They actually have a Steamdot coffee shop going in here. Steamdot is an Anchorage-based coffee roaster that I really love. That's really cool that they're going to be here. We're starting here in the produce section. To give you ideas and prices. The bananas, $1.69. And you can see we have this problem in Anchorage as well. The bananas you get are either like this or like this. Bell peppers, $2.99 each. $2.97 if you want the green. Over here we have watermelons. This watermelon, almost $20. These are the ones that we brought from Anchorage. And in Anchorage, these were, do you remember, Sherry? I think $4 or something like that. So yeah, for the whole thing. Big difference on that. We're just pointing something out. And remember, the last place we did this was in Skagway. And the produce, well, it was rough. But look at how good. Like, look at the red leaf lettuce. Look at this. I mean, the green leaf, the produce looks really nice. The broccoli looks really good. This is, honestly, This is kind of surprising to me. Yeah, they look really nice. Oh, look at berries here. Yeah.
They're expensive, but they look beautiful.
If you want to buy the big thing of blueberries here, this is almost $18, or you can get 2 of the smaller ones for $7. Here's the chorizo. We get $3.65 for those. You can see ground pork, ground beef. This is, let's see, almost $30 for just under 3.5 pounds.
What?
Of ground beef. So definitely more expensive, but the quality, like even the meat, looks really good. Over here we have bread. I know bread is one of those things you guys are curious about as far as prices go.
What we talked about.
$6.39 for that loaf.
Oh my
Loaf
God.
of Sara Lee, $8.79. It looks like down here we just have the good old fashioned whole wheat bread. $8.29.
Oh.
But the white bread down here, $2.99. So far, I'm really
That bread was still.
Yeah, I want that
really
bread.
nice store. You can tell that it's, I don't know when it's built, but it's kind of new. Looking at bacon over here, we have 3 pounds of bacon, $42.29. There's a Fairlife milk here, $12.45 for half gallon. A gallon of milk, $12.99. But this half off right now. And gotta show
It's half off because it's spoiled.
$12.99 for a gallon of
Who doesn't
milk.
love it? $1.09 per pack of top ramen here. Here's some different condiments here. You can see tomato ketchup, kind of an off-brand bottle, $7.75. Mayo, $11.49.
That's not good.
$8.
That ain't good for anybody. That's not
gallons of water down here. Albert just pointed out, $5 for a gallon.
Gallon of water, $5.
Oh my God.
Water. Now we're on the hunt for frozen pizzas. Always curious what the cost of those are. So Totino's, one of Sherry's guilty pleasures. I think these are $1.25 in Anchorage, $3.97 for that crappy pizza. Sorry, Sherry. But then down here, we have other frozen pizzas. You can see California Pizza Kitchen pizzas, about $15 each. All right, this may be one of the biggest surprises
Look at that water.
so far. 24 bottles of water. And these are like these small bottles. These aren't big bottles of water. Look at the cost, $27.96.
And that's for the that's for the no frills one.
Really?
Of bottled water. Holy cow, Sherry Beth. What do you think about that?
Well,
It's not good.
Checking it out in Anchorage.
It's not
There were
good.
people with.
I want to see how much the
Okay.
Jerry says.
So, Abdullah, not to cut you off here, but let's think about this. So, inflation that we talked about 10, 12 years ago is happening, right? People are losing their jobs because of vaccine mandates. I mean, you're losing your food. You can't afford things. You're losing your job. I mean, this ain't good. This is not good for anybody.
Now,
Like,
go back.
right? This ain't
Go
good
back.
for anybody.
Yeah, go back to the clip in 1981.
Yeah, the guy
You're
said
right.
they're going
He
to accept our
described
program.
each one of these things.
This is not good for anybody.
No, not at all. But now
No.
I'm gonna show y'all one more. All right, here we go. Let me see.
That's
Let me see.
weird.
They're gonna get to it now.
Yeah, no kidding. That totally makes sense. Also, Hot Pockets, $30.
Oh my God.
Hot Pockets.
Oh my God.
Uncrustables. You guys know my love for Uncrustables. These little beauties, $26. Now maybe one of the best aisles in the entire store, you guys. It's
I mean, that's
cheese
just a
time.
list of ones.
So you can see Velveeta slices down here, $8. The big thing of Velveeta, $16.09. Sliced cheese or shredded cheese, like $5.59 for a bag of shredded cheese there. Cereals, seems like most of the cereal prices, there's one for $10.49. Most of them in the $7 to $10 range per box of cereal. Chocolate is at like Costco,
Jump to this last one.
$37.99 for that. A lot of them 50% off though. And in case the last water price wasn't high enough, you can get 40 bottles of water
No,
$1 a bottle.
my sister lives in Alaska.
More.
I've been wondering why she's been talking to me a lot. I guess I think I know why now. So I didn't know any of those.
Yeah.
So they literally, no, they sold everything, their house, everything, and they're on my now, no
You
relationship.
should send her a care package.
They now live on the mountain, literally. They sold the house, now is living basically with her parents and have sold everything, and she's homeschooling. Yeah. That's now looking at that. That was what, August 8th?
That was August 8th of 2021.
And I've been talking about inflation when everybody got their checks. Everybody's like, yay, we got our checks. It's like, dude, you know what they're going to do? Inflation. That's it. You check everything. And it's everything we talked about.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter what you money you got. You got nothing.
Yeah.
And
Now,
I have nothing.
Now, here's where they talk about the supply. Because now you got to think about the prices of hair are starting to increase because it's because of the supply chain shortage.
Increase supply, yeah.
Right. The rise in the gas prices, right? Because now if the trucks are delivering the stuff to the store, they got to pay more in gas. So now that cost is going to be added on to the consumer.
But now you got a vaccine mandate for those guys that don't want to get vaccinated or quitting, and now your supply is lower. But
yeah,
I have a little theory about this too, is because think about my car. Actually, my car, okay, I gained value in my car because I literally did not drive it for an entire year. So I literally, my miles on my car now, that would be of value to me as an investment, has now, I would have assumed that it gained, but it didn't. So now if I want to go to the cars and go have a new car and say all this kind of thing, microchip shortage, right? Like she said.
Yep.
So now there's now there's a microchip shortage.
That's true.
But now all the prices of the cars, I wanted to trade out my car to get a new car. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Because there's hardly any new cars.
And you know why? It's because
like
what's happening is the companies are basically like, nobody drove for entire years and now we're behind. Does that make sense, Abdullah? Like, Rashid?
Well, see, the thing is that as soon as you take that car off the lot,
well, I know that. But the thing is, they're trying to compensate for the loss of revenue. Yeah, they're trying to compensate.
Well, it's not just that. So it's like
that's what they're doing. And
but the microchip shortage happened right at the start, or even if not before COVID happened.
Really?
Yeah, because
see, I don't know. I don't know anything of that.
Because my ex.
Did you hear that? Yeah.
But you know what? They started adding on a fee if you get a new car.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, that's because there are dealerships that used to have 1,200 cars on their lot at all times, like new cars. You're lucky if they have 100.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's going to take until 2023 for that
because
to go back
nobody's
to normal.
driving. So why would they make more cars if nobody's driving?
It's a microchip shortage. So there's I'm serious. In China, they're on boats and then lots throughout the world. No. Lots throughout the world. There are thousands of cars sitting there, fully built with everything except the microchip.
Wait. Okay. So did you see the Microchip Act?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
What does it say?
Well, I haven't read it. But my mom's the one who knows. So I've enabled my mom to know all this knowledge that you taught me. So I told her to watch the business news. Don't pay attention to anything.
Give him the summary.
I don't know. But guess what?
China.
All of China. I never knew anything. 2 weeks ago, mom's like, my mom reports to me now. I don't know anything. Listen, so China has literally said anybody that is in a United States manufacturer of chips, done. We banned. Did you know that? Yeah.
That's the summary.
That's the summary.
Wow.
So supposedly the United States Chip Act, or whatever it is, has now only supported chips in America. Oh, that ain't good. That's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good. That's war. That's war.
Maybe,
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna
Yeah, that's not good at all.
I'm gonna jump to this story real quick about the supply chain breakdown. All right, but now you can look at the shelves in some of the stores and see what's going
From
on.
Tonka trucks for Christmas to furniture for the living room to delays of all kinds of products from around the world. Blame it on the supply chain. So what's going on here? Sounds like a question for David Poe.
We start off in here. Come on in. We're gonna need a case of lemons, so let's hope that they got lemons tomorrow.
Life's not giving lemons to Tony Pertessis, who owns and runs the Southport Diner in Connecticut. And not just lemons.
You order Heinz, it's not here. I order Gatorade. It took weeks to get Gatorade. The waitress will come out and say, I don't know where the whipped butter is. I'll call my distributor and say, what happened to the whipped butter? They'll say, oh, we're out of stock till next week.
And when he can get his hands on supplies, he pays a lot more for them.
Used to buy bacon for $2.40 a pound. It spiked up to $6. But how are we supposed to sell bacon when it's costing us so much money?
You've probably noticed something weird going on with the supply chain too. Suddenly you just can't buy the stuff you want. Book publishers are having trouble getting paper. Car companies can't buy computer chips. Builders are having trouble getting lumber. Container ships in port are waiting for days to be unloaded. And everybody's back to hoarding toilet paper. But here's what's strange about these shortages. There's actually a glut of goods entering the country. And chances are, whatever you're waiting for is somewhere in boxes like these.
One of these containers can hold 10,000 pairs of sneakers, 200 queen size mattresses, 70 giant flat screen TVs. So 95% of consumer goods come into the United States in these very containers.
Beth Rooney is the Deputy Director of the Port Department of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. Those big container ships, how many of these are they carrying?
Anywhere between 9 and 16,000 of these boxes at a time.
And this pile is how many?
A couple hundred.
She's in a perfect position to explain the first part of the supply chain crisis.
As the pandemic hit various parts of the globe, factories overseas shut down. When production began to ramp up, we then saw a significant increase in cargo volume. We are all seeing about a 30% increase in our cargo activity year over year.
Even better, or worse, the holidays are coming.
Of course, we're also experiencing Christmas. So if the goods are not here in the port by mid-September, they're generally not on the shelves for Christmas.
Okay, so if there's no shortage of goods, then where's the shortage?
The underlying cause of all of this is actually a huge increase in demand.
Yossi Sheffi is the director of MIT's Center for Transportation and Logistics. And yes, that's a container in his office hallway.
People did not spend during the pandemic, and then all the government help came. Trillions of dollars went to households, so they ordered stuff. They ordered more and more stuff. And the whole global market was not ready.
So wait, there's plenty of goods and plenty of people who want to buy them. So where's the problem? Here's a hint. Trucks.
I think our drivers are heroes. They didn't have a work from home option, right? And so the country needed food, the country needed cleaning.
And remember, a lot of the truckers don't want to be vaccinated.
Yeah.
Supplies, the country needed medicine. They really kept this whole country moving.
Mark Rourke is the president and CEO of Schneider, the country's third largest trucking and logistics company. I order something, comes to America on a container ship.
A lot of us went from zero to heroes.
First thing we have to do.
What'd you say?
A lot of us went from heroes to zeros.
Exactly. Especially the nurses.
Oh, all of them.
Yeah.
We're on the front lines. I don't care. I'm going to do my job.
Yeah.
I have food. It's everything I did.
Yeah.
And I was a hero, but now I'm a zero. So.
Get that international box off the vessel into the port. And then we need a trucker to come into that port and bring that generally to another warehouse. And then we need another driver to come in and then move that across the country or wherever its destination is, a distribution center.
And it sounds like truckers are sort of key to all of that.
Just about everything that you touch, everything you buy or consume has been at one point or another on a truck, for sure.
But the national labor shortage plays a role in the supply chain crisis too, especially when it comes to truck drivers. How short are we of what we would need to handle this huge swell?
Well, for every order Schneider is accepting today, we could do one more than we can.
So you've got half the person power you really could use.
I could use right now, absolutely.
So there's our problem, an unbelievably perfect storm. A huge wave of stuff coming into the country, a huge wave of people who want to buy it, and a hopelessly overwhelmed transportation system that wasn't ready for either one.
Now, let me do the order.
Back at his diner, Tony Pertessis is busy, keeping his customers happy and waiting for the supply chain nightmare to end. Is this a minor inconvenience or is it like a losing sleep situation?
Listen, I've lost sleep a lot. As long as I try my best, I go out fighting, there's nothing I can do. That's all up to God.
But MIT's Yossi Sheffi thinks that there may be light at the end of the tunnel. When are things gonna be normal again?
I would say without government intervention, it will be at the end of the second quarter next year, but the prices will still be high.
And maybe we'll emerge with some wisdom too.
We're getting so used to the.
But now, looking at that.
That's a great video clip you found.
Yeah, it's a lot of good stuff. But this is one I found interesting. It says inflation. Restaurants remove crab from menus due to skyrocketing prices. This one seafood commodity highlights the hyperinflationary crisis brewing in America. Restaurants have suffered throughout the virus pandemic, and the shortage of everything doesn't seem to be waning anytime soon. We told readers in June about a worsening crab meat shortage that sent prices soaring heading into September. Crab meat prices soared to record highs, forcing restaurants to either pass along the cost to their consumers or remove crab products from their menus.
Exactly.
Right? Now look at this. They said the price per pound has gone up from $21 a pound. Yesterday it was $52 a pound.
Jesus God.
And my principal told me that she went to she usually buys a case of crabs, and it's usually costs her like $250, something like that. She said now it's $500.
Wow. On top of it, by the way, can you hear me?
Yeah.
No, hear me. So I was talking about my students about clay. We're talking about clay. So high-end porcelain that I used to buy when I used to work. When I started in college, it was $25 a box. So that's 50 pounds. You know how it's worth now?
How much?
75.
How much?
75.
Wow.
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 And that's my clay body, and I have a ton of it. So, it's getting not good. So I would tell any of you. I even told my mom today because she's got like money. Like I said, Mom, you might want to put a little bit of money into the Swiss franc because the U.S. dollar might be losing value. So. Hey, but the Swiss franc is the only currency, I believe, in the world that's still tied to gold. So if you want to protect yourself from inflation by currency, it might be the Swiss franc.
All right. That's
It's not good. This is not good. This is not good stuff.
And here, because I went to the pizza shop a couple weeks ago, and the owner kept talking about the cost of the wings going up, and he hadn't passed on the cost to let me see, didn't pass on give me 1 second, y'all. Ooh, sorry about that. But yeah, he hadn't passed off the cost to the consumer. But now I saw what he was talking about. They said chicken wings pre-pandemic, they were roughly $45 to $50 for a case. Last week, they were $196 a case. So the prices of things are starting to rise astronomically, right? Then
I worked at a home improvement store, and a price of OSB or particle board was $9 pre-pandemic. It probably went up to $85 a sheet.
$85 a sheet.
Wow.
Yes. So any new construction, we lived by a new development, like houses that were in progress. And we would drive by the sign every day, and it was like starting from the low 200,000s, and then they'd add on like little magnetic things. Now it's 250,000. Now it's 300,000. And you could just see it going up as lumber was increasing.
Not good.
That's yeah. But this is what what's happening.
But I have to throw this out there, Abdullah. Like, I really wanted you to think about this.
Mm-hmm.
You think that my generation, the ones that were woke, are the ones getting hit by this?
Woke.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so when Ashley talks to me, she's younger. Now they're having their college tuition paid for. They're having this kind of like, yeah. I think that they're trying to bleed us out. Is my generation, because with the internet, everything that you taught me, everything you showed me, okay, I'm talking to Ashley, she's like, I've never heard about these writers ever. I pulled out books and books and books, and like, you got to read this person, you got to read this person. And do you think that my generation is the person of generation that's basically being hit to be wrecked? And then her generation, who is literally now the internet generation that doesn't understand about things that we know, to be now promoted. So like Snapchat, Instagram, everything. Meta, right? They have no clue. And now these people are going to now be the generation that's going to be basically like absorbed into this technology that doesn't have a clue that everything's being watched. They know everything. They know what you're doing. They know. I hate it. That's what I think is what's happening. They didn't wreck me, but her will be promoted because they will sell into everything. So that's what I'm saying.
Yes, yeah. It's a very interesting thing, because you have kind of like what the guy in the movie Network was saying. He was saying that you have a generation that know nothing else but what's been fed to them through the programming, because that's all they've known. This is what they've grown up on. And it goes back to when you think about what Malcolm X said, when he says that when you put the education of your children in the hands of your enemy, your children will become your enemy. And you have to think about it. A lot of these kids are not learning about God, or they're not learning like morals and values.
And how deep of a conversation is this? Yeah. That Malcolm's persons that were exonerated, that the ones that killed him are now free, and then his daughter dies. Like, what's that about?
Yeah,
I was angry. When I saw the headlines, I was upset.
Yeah,
like, what's up? So then, who killed Malcolm?
Yeah. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that again. All right, so let me go down real quick because I want y'all to see this because this is some of the fallout that we're getting. So this is a store called Relish. And this is on, what's that, Ogats?
Yeah.
I seen.
Yep.
So they usually do a Thanksgiving, they offer a Thanksgiving meal that you could buy if, you know, if your family's not cooking or anything. But this was the message that they put on. They usually do this, you know, every year. It says, over the years, many of you have returned as customers for our annual holiday catering. We have always looked forward to this time of year and the opportunity to help you make delicious memories with your families and friends. For businesses like ours, the challenges brought on by the pandemic are sadly still with us. The cost of food is increasing weekly. The supply chain remains broken. Many foods are difficult to purchase with consistency, and we remain understaffed. It is for these reasons we have been forced to make the decision not to offer our Thanksgiving to go and holiday to go catering packages. So you can see just the local impact that it's having, that this supply chain shortage is having. And, you know, really, they don't really see any real relief in sight. This is another phenomenon that's going on. It says suspects steal shopping carts full of items from CT grocery store.
Unfortunately, food's not
Whatever you're doing
easy.
right now, you may want to stop and take a look at this. All new for you at 6. Some shocking video out of Oxford. It shows a group of people here at a grocery store stealing several shopping carts worth of merchandise.
Yeah, it really is pretty incredible. And as you can imagine, it's one of the most clicked on stories on the Channel 3 app today. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Sharon Johnson is in Oxford with the story.
The brazen larceny happened here at Market 32. Now, the store manager is not commenting on the matter, but we did notice that a police vehicle is sitting outside of the grocery store. It wasn't sitting there in the video you're about to see.
We were kind of shocked. You know, we didn't think this would happen in our town.
Mark Krasner says he often shops at Market 32 and he's never seen anything like what happened in this video. State police say around 6:45 Tuesday morning, store personnel watched several people filling multiple shopping carts. They left the store without paying. Watch as they load 2 cars waiting in the fire lane. The carts are filled to the brim with laundry detergent and paper towels. Then they take off in the cars, erratically driving and missing a grocery cart. Police believe these vehicles were stolen.
It's terrible. It really is, that people have to resort to this, but I think you're going to see more and more of this. You know, with the price of food going up, everything going up.
Police say the Oxford resident trooper got a call 10 minutes after the cars took off. They encourage people to call 911 when a crime is happening.
Thank God nobody got hurt. That's the big thing.
And this is an active and ongoing investigation. Anyone with any information is asked to call 203-888-4353. In Oxford tonight, Sharon Johnson, Channel 3 Eyewitness News. All right, again.
So now people are becoming desperate.
And this is that desperate. You know, this is for food and supplies. Not good. It's not good.
Well, even pre-pandemic, laundry detergent is one of the most expensive, was one of the most commonly stolen things. Laundry detergent and baby formula.
It's not good. It doesn't matter. Like you're not, you know, if you're gonna steal something, go steal diamonds. They're stealing food and they're stealing.
Because if it's under a certain value, then the cops don't chase it.
That's not good.
That's an actual thing, though. Stores don't have to report
That's
if it's
not
under
good.
a certain
It's
amount
still
of
not
money.
good. It's still not good. Like
Maybe you don't want to post
people
this.
are no, it's okay, but we're talking real stuff. Like
I know.
you don't go steal food and what is it?
Paper towels and
paper
laundry
towels
detergent.
and stuff. You know, it's like diamonds and
Well, that stuff you're
gems
obviously
and
going to
stuff.
get like, that's higher priority. So if someone's stealing like, you know, a thing of laundry detergent or 2 or a basket full of groceries, it's less of a priority to the cops. And except in this case where it's, you know, carts full into cars that were also stolen. That's more high
That was
priority.
pretty, I mean, that's pretty deep. I mean,
But like literally, so if you go, I don't know if you guys have it here, but like if you go into like drugstores and stuff, laundry detergent and baby
actually, it
formula
ain't
behind
good.
locks.
It's not good.
Oh, I know it's not behind. Yes, I know it's not
That
good,
ain't
but it's been
good.
going on for
Like,
years.
That's not good at all.
Go ahead, brother. I see when you want to have say something too.
Well, just like the guy sent on the video, you're going to see more of this.
Oh yeah.
And people are just the other night. My son caught a guy coming out of Rite Aid, holding the place up. They get a call. He gets there. He sees people with their hands in the air. The guy's coming out. Get the rest of the guy to the ground and lock him up.
Wow.
Yeah, you're gonna see. And the same guy had just robbed a 7-Eleven. You know, people are getting more and more desperate. They're going to do these things.
They're getting desperate. They are getting desperate. And that's not a problem. It's part of who we are. Like, it's
The whole thing,
human
they'll get
nature.
desperate enough to get the vaccine.
That's what I told you about with certain things. It's like a revolution will happen because people lost everything.
Yeah.
But you got to think too. Think about it.
Be good.
You have a generation that many of them are without morals and values. They never were taught.
Right.
So some of these things, these acts that they're going to commit are going to be horrible.
I know.
Because they don't have morals and values. I'm going to show you an example right now. Watch this. This is a young man that held up a young lady at a grocery store, right? Let me see. So,
because people are getting desperate. That's what's happening. They're getting desperate, and I don't like it because I can see it.
But now, but just watch this interactions. All right. So, you know, she's cooperating, you know, she's doing what he's asking to do, but look how rough he's being with her.
How is he doing?
He pushed her head down.
Did she? Yeah.
Yeah, he pushed her head down.
Yeah.
He's shaking her. But look at him. You see this? Why does he have to do all of that? She was complying. Look at that.
Yeah, this is not good. This isn't good.
And
It's
a
not
lot of times they're emulating what they see.
I was going to say that's how he was trained.
Right. But
everything he's absorbed to lead up to what he's doing.
This is also survival, though.
Yeah.
Survival. They're just trying to survive.
Yeah, but at the same time, here's this woman. She's complying with everything that he's asking her to do, but yet he still has to be violent with her.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like they see these things off of the video games that they play, off of what they see on the internet. Little boy, they interviewed a little boy and a little girl who were carjacking people. And he said, well, why were you doing this? Grand Theft Auto. He said, I wanted to, do what they were doing on Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
So children do what they see. Children do what they see, just like adults also.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm really scared about some of my kids.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the marginalized, lower socioeconomics. What I learned with you, I'm afraid when I go to work. I mean, with the white people, I'm afraid, and I'm telling you, it ain't good.
Well,
I'm just telling you, they're getting aggressive too.
Yeah,
and it's not good. And I want to tell you that because we always share everything, and I don't like it. It's not.
Well, the thing is remember, they are doing things to stir racial division.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Because they want civil war.
Right.
And if you ever, I did a presentation a few months back. A lot of people didn't see that presentation, but it's a very important presentation because it talks about Albert Pike and it talks
Oh,
about his
yes.
plan
Yeah.
and about you can see them creating these atheists and these anarchists, with the intent for civil war, with intent of fighting.
They call it culture wars is what they. Yeah, culture wars. I read the book.
You got to remember that he was a high-ranking Freemason and also a Luciferian.
And look at seeing who's creating this, right?
Exactly. It's all the agenda. It's very funny because when you think about, sometimes when you think about Satan or the devil, people looking at this guy that plops down and can shoot you with beams and got this pitchfork and all of this stuff. No, this entity is a whisperer.
Yes.
Whispers into the hearts and minds of people and tries to get them to, go off of the path of God.
This is why I was telling you, I kept sending this to you, was the Order of Nine Angles.
Mm-hmm.
So I researched the entire ideas of Satanism because they were atheistic. Our atheists were like this sub-atheist, and they are not. And when I researched it and looked into atheism or to Satanism, there was a huge satanic panic in the 80s, and they said, "Oh, it's all we're freaking out. Everybody's freaking out."
Mm.
Right? Then I researched into the other guy. Now he's all banned. He's been banned from everything.
Mm.
Now the whole group is now being watched by Homeland Security. Okay.
Now,
So no, and they did human sacrifice, did this stuff, and then so the thing is about Satanists, they said, "Oh, we would never would kill people. We wouldn't do that." And I researched it, and yes, they do. And now they're being investigated by all these people, which I'm totally fine with.
Now watch this, Brother Cheryl. They're being investigated by themselves.
Exactly. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
That's the problem. That it's a thing of appearance.
Exactly.
Let me make it seem like, oh, we're getting on these people.
Right. They're not.
Yeah, because this guy
was high level. This guy was high level NSA, National Security Agency. High level was one of them. Okay. No. And in depth with people, and I'm telling you, when I found it, I said, "Holy God, like this is nuts."
Yeah.
And I found it, and I researched it even deeper, and then it was only one little clip. All it took was like literally 30 seconds. The guy saying human sacrifice.
Mm.
That's what they do. And I was like, oh, whoa, what?
Yeah.
I was like, that's what?
14 years.
Say
again. What is it?
Once every 14 years.
Once every 14 years they do this human sacrifice. And I see the video, everything. I was like, no.
But you know what? But it's funny that
they do
one every 14 years, but there's other denominations of
the other thing is about the groups, unfortunately, is they're so underground that they literally will change their entire name, become some new group, and nobody knows. And they will do exactly the same thing.
But you know what?
They do exist.
It's like the Satanists are like the no frills devil worshippers. And then you got the Luciferians who, they're like the upper echelon of this the Satanist groups.
Well, these guys are killing people. I mean, I don't know.
They are. Yeah. That stuff.
I sent you all the articles about these people.
Yeah.
Like, no, they're there. They're being watched now. And unfortunately, they're going to go underground not to be watched, and they're going to change all of it, everything.
But they're not really being watched. I'm telling you, they're not really being watched. These people, it's like
The thing is that was deep about them was that they created adversity between other groups. So they literally are smart enough to literally infiltrate a group. That's the opposite. So Muslim and Islam, they would become Islamic and Muslim to create problems against somebody who's Israeli or they're very intelligent. But they're only chosen to do that to literally infiltrate those groups.
But didn't
cause that problem?
Didn't the FBI do that too? Isn't that their
COINTELPRO? Yeah.
Right, but that's what they've always done. This is an old practice that they've always done. Infiltrate groups and cause division. That's what they've always done.
I know.
This is how they operate. This is their thing. This is how they operate.
They do it to cause conviction, the fighting against one.
Exactly. Exactly. But that's what it is. Problem, reaction, solution. They got it. They know what they're doing. Yeah. It's just like, the fake wrestling thing that's going on with the Democrats and the Republicans. They give you the appearance that they're against each other, but they're
how about this? You taught me so much, but it proved that it's actually happening.
You said what?
I said you taught me so much, but I proved that it's actually happening.
Oh yeah, it's happening. It's happening. Look, when you think about the election with Kerry and Bush. Remember that?
Yeah.
And remember how it was a thing about the numbers and all this stuff, and then Kerry was like, "Oh yeah, I'm not even gonna fight or challenge it. I'm just gonna let them have it." They were cousins, and they both belong to Skull and Bones.
Correct. Yes. Yep.
Well, a lot of times they are in secret society.
Do you know the guy that interviewed Bush and saying 322?
Yeah.
You know who he is, right?
Wait a minute, say that again.
Guy that actually interviewed Bush.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he actually quoted, "Your guys are all from the Skull and Bones, 322."
Yeah. Yeah.
Guess where he's at?
Where?
Done. He's dead.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's dead. Oh
well,
yeah.
Well, do you know what the significance of the 322 is?
No.
It's a biblical verse. Genesis 3, chapter 3, verse 22. And what it talks about in that verse is talking about man becoming God.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's some deep stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's very deep. But it's 11 o'clock. And I look, and oh my God, we get to the good part. So let's reconvene. What day would be good for y'all?
I love all of this. So I don't know what day would be great for you. So whenever.
All right.
So I want to.
Wednesday.
All right.
What about you, brother Nassim? Can you do a Wednesday?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to just rush through this stuff.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Kind of see
some good stuff.
Yeah. So I'm gonna remember that we're on slide 47, and let's reconvene on Wednesday.
Now you gotta come up with some better stuff for Ashley, because she killed it. She killed it.
Oh, don't worry. I got Ashley next time.
But you gotta get figured out.
I gotta try to challenge her. She's too sharp. All right, so Wednesday at what time? What do y'all want to do?
8.
8. It's a school night.
Yeah, 8. It's good. 8. Yeah, 8 or
Yeah.
7. Yeah,
It'll be
I have to
7.
work because I come
Yeah,
home.
say 6 or 7.
No, 7.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, y'all right. It is a school night. I'm talking stuff. I'm talking big and bad. Like I don't got nothing to do. So what y'all want to do? Let's say Wednesday or Friday. What day is better? I'll leave it up to y'all.
Ooh.
Oh, Friday's not
Friday's
good.
the better day, but you know, I figured Wednesday's the earlier day.
Yeah, because I want to get to some of this news I got before it becomes old news.
Right. Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
Friday. I say Friday. That's me.
Friday's cool.
Friday's cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Ashley?
Yeah, Friday's good.
Friday's good. All right.
Yeah.
Y'all don't got no big date on Friday. Y'all not going out.
Just with him, but
Oh. All right. So let's say Friday at what time?
7.
Yeah.
7. All right.
7, that's fine.
All right. All right. Sounds like a plan. This was a good session. I enjoyed this session. Go ahead, Ashley. You really was on it tonight.
Thank you so much. Awesome.
Right. So I'm gonna stop. Wait a minute. Let me stop recording. Let me see. Oh, dang. Wait a minute. Oh, here it is. Right here. Oh, I'm lunching. Dang, on. Okay, here we go.